Good evening. My name is Faisal Elkhatib, and I'm here with the Honorable Courtney Jones, very good friend of mine. He is also president of the Dearborn Realist Association, which is the African American Real Estate Trade Association for real estate sales professionals. Courtney, thank you for joining us today.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here.
So, I think my Facebook Live is not working, but we're going to focus now just only on the CanTV piece. Courtney, tell us a little bit about what some of the programs, some things that you're doing in Chicago, and primarily based around black homeownership.
Awesome. Actually, as the Dearborn Realist Board, we focus heavily on increasing wealth through homeownership. So we have several initiatives, and I'm excited to share on this particular show about our faith-based initiative, where we'll be focused in Chicago in partnering with our aldermen, our religious leaders, and bringing a nice synergy around financial literacy. And what that means is simply, how do we make ourselves smarter about the budgeting, the saving, using our credit cards, so what we're spending money on. So if there's ways to cut that, we want to help our folks do that. Then we want to get into housing counseling. So our families are protected, so we know about loan level price adjustments, so you're not paying more for your home. Things like getting a home warranty and a home inspection, so you don't take shortcuts because you might save $500 to $1,000, but how that might hurt you for the next 20 years, right? So after we take care of that component, then we're going to bring our lender partners in so that you guys can shop them. I'm going to say that again. So that after we finish the financial literacy and then we do the housing counseling, now you're prepared. You're ready to go. Credit is in order. Budget is in order. Savings is right.
Okay.
Now, Faisal, they have the opportunity to shop the lender and decide what lending program best suits their family.
So let's take a moment on that piece. And the reason I want to take a moment is because I've seen so many home buyers go to buy a house and they get locked in with one lender and they ride that lender all the way to closing and they never once had to figure out, never bid against it. So you're actually talking about shopping the lender. Can you talk more about that specifically and what that looks like?
Yes, thank you. In many instances, we feel that as a community, as a black community, and probably other communities think the same thing, which is you apply for a pre-qualification, a pre-approval, and now you're panicked that I don't want my credit to take a hit.
So the pre-approval is where the bank, they pull your credit, check your credit, and see, hey, this looks good, we like your score, we like what's on your credit, we're going to qualify you to buy the house.
That is accurate.
Okay.
So what we recommend through this process is, before you even get the pre-qualification done, you shop the banks and find out what products or programs best suit you. So if you're looking to buy on the west side of Chicago, North Lawndale, Garfield Park, very prime real estate, up and down 16th Street, you know, it's a haven that you'd want to buy over there now. So, but you might have to use a product like a 203K loan, which is a purchase rehab loan.
Okay.
That particular loan will allow you to purchase the property and rehab the property.
Okay.
With the amenities, Faisal, that the family might be looking for.
Gotcha.
Now, in doing so, you might, through that process, find out that that lender's down payment assistance program might not be as attractive as another lender's down payment assistance program.
I see. So one lender may give you more money or require less money down, is that what you're saying? Or they'll give you more money?
It could be a combination of both.
Okay.
So it could be you bring maybe only 1% to the closing table, and you get to layer some down payment assistance programs, some grant fund money, some forgivable money, as long as you're living in the home for 5 years or more is typically what I see. But because you're in that 30-day period of when the first lender did the pre-qualification, it will not be a ding to your credit to have another lender pull your credit with the mind's eye that you're going to go with someone else.
So it's almost like when you're looking for a car, you get a bunch of dealerships are hitting your credit at the same time. because they're close in time and they're very similar in nature, there's a minimal impact to your credit by having those multiple hits.
That is correct.
Okay.
And it's 30 days typically is what most the credit bureaus tend to leverage as a tool to decide, oh, okay, you have 4 different lenders pull your credit within a 21-day period. This person is looking to purchase a property. Gotcha.
I want to let everybody know this is a live session. It's a live show, so you can call with Better Informed Housing. Our number is at the bottom of your screen, 312-738-1060. And we're going to go to the overhead really quick. And we are Better Informed Housing. You can reach us at www.betterinformed.org. We're at 218 North Jefferson, Suite 103, Chicago, Illinois. And you can call us at 312-533-2688 anytime after the show or anytime thereafter, or you can email us at neighbors@betterinformed.org. So, back to Courtney. So thank you. So now we've got our pre-qual. We've actually shopped at a bunch of lenders. Do you get a pre-qualification from each lender at that point?
Actually, the process would be simply the bank that you shopped and you chose to go with is who you would go get the pre-approval with. But if something came up after that where you've decided that you have a better product that fits your family's needs, then you would just adjust and go with the different lender.
Gotcha.
We've seen that happen multiple times where we've had to change lenders just to get across the closing finish line.
I've seen that happen a couple times. So now, the really exciting, you started out with the faith-based initiative. Can you talk more about kind of what exactly, I know you talked about there's housing counseling, there's financial literacy, there's coordination with the politicians and the local aldermen. On the faith-based initiative, what is that looking like, and what does that mean when you say that?
Yes, that's really what the focus here is. In our neighborhoods, the Faith Center is that cornerstone of where most of all of our grandparents at one point or another may have gone to worship, our parents may have gone to worship, and it's kind of been there through the test of time, through the cycle of the economy. We've seen businesses come and go, we've seen hospitals open and close, you name it in our communities, but the one thing that tends to be the staple is that Faith Center.
So the church, the mosque, the synagogue, the Hindu temple, whatever that is, the faith-based center that actually ties the community together.
That is accurate.
Okay.
So what we've done is jumped in aggressively, and that's my my nature, forgive me, but it excites me that we can use the place that we all go to have our faith and deepen our belief system, actually be a place where we can get our financial dreams met as well.
That's fantastic. So are you actually having these programs held at these locations, or is it a matter of, I mean, what does that look like for me as I'm going to go to the mosque, or if you go to the church or whatever? Are they going to find these programs at the church? Is it kind of coordinating with the pastors and the imams at the church, at the mosque? I mean, what does that look like in terms of connecting them all together so that way the impact reaches down to the individual?
Great question. Really what we're doing is meeting with each of the leadership, strategizing a rollout so that the head of the Faith Center and that alderman in that ward will be disseminating that message through either newsletter, website, messaging in the community, you name it, through bulletin at the Faith Center, where they're going to advertise when these resources are going to be available for those that worship there, so they know when to come and what to bring.
So then actually having those initiatives at various locations, either at the center itself or letting them know when it's happening so that way they can bring their congregations to where we're having these types of initiatives, similar to the Community Wealth Building Day that we just had in May, correct?
That's accurate.
Which was, by the way, we did talk about it here on the show at the time. Courtney was amazing. He came here just before that. And I think we had over 1,000 people that attended that Community Wealth Building Day, and it was really a beautiful sight. So well done on that one, Courtney.
Thank you.
There was a lot of people I know involved in that, but I know you kind of spearheaded that, so thanks for all that. So what else should we be looking for? Now that we've got, we've heard about it at the mosque or at the church, we're attending the sessions, we've done our credit checks, we've done our credit cleanup if we need to do the credit cleanup and taking offline items or making sure that it's accurately reflecting the truth of my credit, I guess, status. We've met with the lenders, we've picked our lender, now we've gotten, what's kind of the next direction that you see us going in?
Actually, this is the sweet part, is having a real estate professional to guide them through the process. They will help partner with them, meaning the family, on bringing a real estate attorney to the table, right? You want somebody that's tried and true, somebody who is an advocate for what you want and need to protect you, right? That's a big deal. Well, then what about home inspector, right? You know, everyone out there, you can't just trust anybody, right? You need someone that's going to help peel back that onion to find out under all this cosmetic, beautiful, drapery in this property, what's the pipes look like? What does the foundation look like?
Absolutely.
You know, what does the roof look like?
Right.
We've heard of some of the trouble stories that have existed. So once you get that real estate broker who can be your quarterback, that person is going to then bring through the breadth of the network that we have, all of the right experts that's going to fight and protect you through this home dream acquisition process.
Now, you mentioned the term a realtist. Now, I know we've talked about it before, and I always want to take an opportunity to always talk about realtists. And what does that exactly mean? I touched on it early on. What is the importance of the realtist versus, for example, a realtor?
Actually, they're both trade associations.
Okay.
Right? And one of the biggest things that we stress is in the black community having a self-sustaining community.
Okay.
We all know some of the issues that plague the city of Chicago. We know that the public school education system needs some support.
Right.
We know that healthcare needs some support.
Right.
You know, we've grown to see that things like food deserts,
right,
play a part in healthcare issues, diabetes and high blood pressure. So one of the holistic views in how home ownership plays a part in that place is if you have a depressed marketplace, now have vibrant home ownership, that's a lot of tax revenue being generated.
Okay.
That allows that community to now build in that commercial corridor so that there are no more vacancies, there's no more blight, and there's no more empty storefronts.
Gotcha.
Now we have the potential to bring in quality eateries, to bring in quality infrastructure, your dry cleaner, your laundromat, your pharmacies,
right,
like a staple that we see right here in Chicago with Edwin Muldrow's pharmacy right there on 16th and Ridgeway.
Absolutely,
someone who's been there through it all. But that comes from having folks in the community have the resources to patronize that place.
Correct.
So when we talk about a realtist professional is someone that lives, practices, or owns their business in that community.
Okay.
This is a person that represents democracy in housing, and they want to see that whether you have a HUD-VASH voucher, Section 8 voucher, you're a veteran who receives subsidy, a single parent, single mom to be specific, who might receive some form of a subsidy, you deserve the right to have the same dream of home ownership as every other American.
So essentially the realtist lives in the community, works in the community, knows the community, understands the community, and knows really to develop and push the community through. So from within. So their knowledge base is there. And they can help, and they have a vested interest in driving the community forward, both economically and beautifying it.
Exactly.
That's phenomenal. And then, so getting that through and developing that, you end up with black home ownership, you end up with black-owned businesses, correct? Black professionals all working with the community, developing the community. You got it. And now you have a community that can stand on its own. Absolutely. Well, so I'm going to really jump to the overhead really quick. Just to remind everyone, this is a live show. You can call us in. We're at betterinformedhousing.org. You can reach us at our location is 218 North Jefferson, Chicago, Illinois 60661, 312-533-2688, or you can email us at neighbors@betterinformed.org. And you can call us live at 312-738-1060. So What other things should we be thinking about and talking about, Courtney, that you feel that are important within this realm?
Awesome. There's a couple of things I want to share. With this faith-based initiative, we're really encouraging everyone to go to your church and ask your church leadership, are you involved in this faith-based initiative with the Dearborn Realist Board? Ask and inquire, if you're looking for housing help, where do I reach out? Because we're partnering with all of the religious institutions. We want to make sure you don't miss out.
So we have a caller, and let's put the caller through.
Yes, sir. Great show.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, if this was a perfect world, everything you guys are saying would be right, but it's not. In every African-American and Hispanic neighborhood, on every block or every other block, you have three things. You have a food store or barbecue place. You have a bar or a liquor store and a church. That's what you have. So who's the realtor? I'll tell you who the realtor is. The people that run them businesses. Where is the mayor and everybody else when not available when you do need money for these neighborhoods to start rebuilding them? You can't find any of them. And it's a shame because years ago, the alderman was like 75% white. Now, the minority has become a majority African American and Hispanic, and still nothing has changed. So either we're electing the wrong people, or they catch amnesia right away when they get in office. They forget about helping the neighborhood and keeping them safe. So I want to ask the gentleman next to you, sir, on your left, why is that, sir? Why can't we all get together and start companies of our own? You know, instead of all these other ones, you know, the three natural, you know, food store or a bar and a liquor store and a church. There should be businesses throughout the neighborhood, and not always just those three.
So that's actually, if I understand your question is why don't we, as the black community, come together and have our own and trying to build up our own
black and Hispanic.
And Hispanic
not
communities.
Black.
And Hispanic
Right.
communities. I think that's a great question. I think that is where, Courtney, you were going with it.
Yes, actually, Faisal, with your comfort, I'd like to try to address some of the insights that the caller just brought up.
Absolutely.
One of the ways, okay, that I want to point out that I'm excited about is a lot of the black aldermen in office now are trying to network with the faith centers, with the Real Estate Trade Association, the Dearborn Realist Board, to bring the knowledge, the infrastructure, so that we can start preparing our folks who are paying $1,100 to $1,500, sometimes $1,600 a month in rent, that could be a mortgage payment. Right? A lot of this, and I know this wouldn't be a shock to you, caller, if I shared it, a lot of this comes from a lack of understanding. A lot of folks that I talk to who we've gotten pre-qualified over the last just 2 years here thought initially going into the financial literacy session, they didn't even think they could afford a home. So that's one of the things, starts with changing the narrative of what we believe to what we know. Right? That's one of the first things. Then the second thing is we patronize currently, and this is, my Courtney Jones opinion. We patronize a lot of businesses in the black and Hispanic neighborhoods where the dollars are leaving the community. Mm-hmm. So we want to change that format and start having the businesses in the community be owned by the indigenous population of people in that community. Right? That's a big part. But then 3, we want to start collaborating. See, of the past, we've seen a lot of folks trying to do certain things that are helpful. But could you imagine a community when multiple organizations within that community pooled its resources together to then now have a large black-owned supermarket and not just a corner store? What would that look like? What about a healthcare facility where it was a full service facility where you can get an x-ray, an MRI, some therapy, everything that you needed right there in the community, right? And that can be done. What about the school? Well, once we start addressing some of the deficit in terms of resources in our community through home ownership, having a blighted property no longer blighted, and we show folks that once you get pre-approved for a home, you don't run to a certain part of the city, that you be a part of the rebuilding of the one that you're in.
Correct.
We talk about safety. Well, it would be a lot harder for some of the things to happen if every home was occupied, if everybody, was patrolling the neighborhoods. There would be no place for folks to just hang out, right? We could have, environments like the YMCAs and the different, Chicago park districts that we have currently be more vibrant with programs and things for folks to come for after school programming, after school learning. Our neighborhoods are going to change, and you're going to see that very quickly.
You still there, caller? I think we lost him, but I've made some very good points, and that's exactly kind of the direction that I've seen Courtney kind of pushing forward with. And actually, that's a good thing to actually go out to your church and ask your church leaders, are they part of this program? And I think from what I've seen and what I'm understanding is by pulling those resources from a political level and combining and everybody coming together and speaking with a unified voice, it changes the impact of the statements that are being made. Blessings to you, Courtney, for all that work that you're doing and bringing those people together. What else should we be talking about? What else? Tell me more about what's going on in those realms.
Wonderful. One of the biggest things outside of the faith-based piece that the Dearborn Realist Board is pushing really hard is having the vacancy and blight issue in our community no longer exist. So we're telling folks, if you own in your neighborhood, ask your alderman about their lot program. Most of every alderman around the city has some form of a dollar lot program, some form of a lot giveaway, for those that have a vested interest in that community. So it's really more so what we're trying to do at the Dearborn Realist Board level is just bring more home ownership awareness and more wealth building opportunities to our community. We have folks that own a property who might have the ability to own a multi-unit in their community. Right? Now, that could be a tool that's used to generate revenue, add to your retirement planning, transition to your children, your loved ones. So we're really just trying to expand how we see our neighborhood. Because right now, many Chicagoans could see something that used to be blighted, now rehabbed. Well, we want to now make you a part of that rehab strategy.
And you're talking about, so just briefly, just to tap into the financial literacy piece and maybe put a piece of that here. Home ownership versus rental, owning your own home. What is the big part of that? I mean, what is it? What's the gain there? Is that's equity, that's wealth, that's building wealth? Am I right?
Yeah, actually, I would just be so bold to just say in the black community, it's stability.
Okay.
At least you break the ice to purchase a home, generations to follow you will always have somewhere to live.
Wow. Well, I want to thank everyone. I want to really quick let everybody know we're at Better Informed Housing. We are www.betterinformed.org, located at 218 North Jefferson, Suite 103 in Chicago. The phone number is 312-533-2688. You can reach us by email after the show at neighbors@betterinformed.org. If you have any questions and you missed a question, feel free to email us. We'll make sure that we'll get it over to Courtney so he can see it. My name is Faisal Elkhatib. I'm with Better Informed Housing. This is my good friend and brother, Quincy Jones, right?
Quentin Jones.
Quentin Jones.
The Quincy's not a part of the family.
Not the Quincy part of the family. Quentin Jones. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.